Welcome to my channel. If you like these kind of videos, please subscribe and press the bell icon. My stand in Chapter 101. The next day, Ming took Joe to his company. This is the first time for Joe to really come in contact with Ming's business. The scale of this company really shocked him. It must be difficult for Ming to manage such a large company while also being exposed to the public, being an actor. Joe can imagine how tired Ming is every day. Although Ming is now trying to fade from the public, but when their car entered the courtyard of the office building, they saw a dozen girls holding banners bearing Ming's name being blocked by the security guards at the gate. Joe looked at those young girls who were not afraid of the freezing cold. He couldn't help but sigh. Ming remained his usual self, coldly indifferent. He didn't even glance at them. Joe probably understands why Ming is driving such inconspicuous car. Even all the windows were tinted black. They took the underground garage elevator to Ming's office. Once they got out of the elevator, Jang-hoon came over. President Ming, Tong is here. Okay, in the reception. Yes, besides him, there is also. Who else? Miss Yan is here as well. Ming's expression changed slightly. What is she doing here? I don't know. You are heading there now. Ming sighed, yeah. Then, Jang-hoon looked at Joe. The Yan family's young miss is particularly strict in her brother's affairs. In contrast, Ming's eldest brother turned a blind eye on it. Ming's brother and sister had argued many times over Ming's sexual orientation. Bringing Joe with him this time will surely make matters worse. It's okay. Ming patted Joe's back. Let's go. Sooner or later, Ming will have to face his family. Ming could already guess Tong's intent in bringing Yan Mingmei. To get what they each want, both will have to give in. Joe also hesitated as he glanced at Ming. Ming pulled him toward the reception. As soon as they entered the reception, they saw an extremely well-matched looking couple sitting in the center of the sofa chatting happily. Seeing that Ming had come, Tong stood up but still held on to Yan Mingmei's hand. Yan Mingmei also stood up. She who usually wears 6-7 centimeters high heels is now wearing a pair of soft-soled flats. Sis, brother-in-law. Ming nodded, which can be considered as saying, hello. Yan Mingmei's smile faded when the two came in. It's likely that Tong had said something to her, which made her glare viciously at Joe the moment he walked in. Joe has never had any conflicts with women in his entire life. Although he is not attracted to them, he had always been amiable to his female friends. It had become second nature to him. Even though Yan Mingmei didn't look too cordial, he still nodded and smiled faintly. Yan Mingmei seemed to be in a daze for a moment. Then, she uncomfortably turned her face to the side. Ming sat on the sofa. Brother-in-law, I thought you are coming to talk about business today. Why did you bring my sister? You guys talk about your stuff. Having me here still won't affect it. Yan Mingmei glared at Ming. I haven't seen you for a long time too. Ming glanced at Tong, then come back another time to talk. It is my rule to separate my business from personal affairs. Tong smiled expressionlessly. Ming-shu, Mingmei is not an outsider. I have to take her to a pregnancy checkup later, so I conveniently brought her along. I've brought the contract and some information. Take a look. When the pregnancy checkup was mentioned, Ming's expression had a trace of commotion, but he still didn't take the things Tong handed over. Since you have other things to do, you should take my sister there first. The day after tomorrow is Mom's birthday. Come look for me after her birthday. Sis, I have things to do. I'll leave first. After he said that, he stood up intending to leave. This attitude is obviously not giving Tong face. Yan Mingmei didn't know what was happening, so she somewhat blamingly asked, Ming-shu, how can you treat your brother-in-law like this? Even if he asked for your help with business matters, we are still one family. What can't be said in front of me? Obviously Tong brought Yan Mingmei along to force Ming to sign the agreement as soon as possible. Ming can still deal with Tong, but his sister's temper is very big. Money is just a number in her eyes. It's the least valuable thing. She never had to be anxious over these numbers, nor did she ever think she would ever have to worry about it. So she certainly won't understand what it meant for any investment to be appropriately spent in the right place. If she knew that Tong is short of money and he didn't help, she'll definitely make a hell of a fuss. Ming's dissatisfaction toward Tong had gradually increased over time. What Tong did yesterday and today are about to touch his bottom line. In fact, he had realized Tom's many shortcomings before, but he never confronted it because he was fully concentrated in liking him at the time. Who would have known that he mistakenly liked the wrong person? After discarding these subjective love feelings is when he could finally see Tom clearly. Tom is merely just an attractive face with a lacking character. He can speak well and do things, he can make his image appear to be perfect, but he has no business mindset and is narrow-minded. If Ming didn't have Joe, he really didn't know when he would be able to see Tom's true character clearly. Ming didn't know why Tom is against Joe, but whatever the reasons are, he won't let anyone hurt Joe. It's just that he didn't expect Tom to bring his sister to force him to submit. Ming's attitude is a bit cold. Sis, I've said that I have a separation between business and personal matters. At home, he is my brother-in-law. In the company, he is party B. You guys go do your stuff. I won't discuss it today, nor will I discuss it at home. What is it that's so secretive? Are you guys hiding something from me? Yan Mingmei is so enraged that she slammed her hands on the coffee table a few times. Mingshu, you've become more and more peculiar in recent years, even using this attitude toward us. How did you become like this? Is it because you're with this man? You having this messed up, gay, man by your side, what the hell are you thinking? Mom and Dad have been turning a blind eye, but sooner or later they will take care of you. Ming narrowed his eyes and said coldly, I've said it many times, just take care of yourself. Leave me alone. Ming. Joe laughed at himself. He stood up and said politely, President Ming, Executive Wang and Miss Yan, since this is your family affairs, it's not appropriate for me to be here. You guys talk, I'll leave first. After he said that, he didn't hesitate and walked toward the door. Stop right there. Yan Mingmei stepped in front of him. This is indeed our family affairs, but you've already taken part in it. Since you're both here, as a sister I can't just watch my brother fool around with a man and pretend not to see it. Tom did not expect the situation to turn out like this. Once Yan Mingmei's anger flares up, even 10 cattle cannot stop her. Ming is even more enraged. He told Tom to come by today with the intention for him to explain the matter with the movie and have him make up for it with monetary compensation to give Joe a justification. He also intended to request that Tom re-edit a new version of the movie with Joe appearing in it for internet sales. But he didn't expect Tom to bring Yan Mingmei, which instead caused Joe to be insulted again. Joe's mouth still has on smile with his head lowered and not talking. In fact, most of those words he said yesterday were just angry words spoken in the spur of the moment. After he slept and woke up, his mind had cleared a lot. He felt that asking Ming to be in contention with his own brother-in-law really doesn't make sense and is completely unnecessary. After all, this merely involved just minor personal interest. Why bother to let emotions affect them? He won't go so far as to be this immature. He just wanted some monetary compensation from Tom. This way, Tom can still preserve his dignity and he, Joe, can feel better as well. However, this turn of event is completely unexpected. Before he could open his mouth to say anything, he was being insulted first. This result was so novel that he wanted to laugh. Ming walked over and patted Joe's back. Joe, you go out first. I will handle it. Joe looked at Yan Mingmei. He really wanted leave, but the young lady refused to let him go. Yan Mingmei said sternly, Mingshu, if you continue on like this, I can only tell parents about it. You are almost 24. How long are you going to continue to keep fooling around like this? Sis, don't say anymore. Ming's tone was full of warning. Do you not know what your status is? The Forbidden City is square and such a big place. Good news can travel far, but bad news can't be hidden. Do you want everyone to laugh at our Yan family? Ming's expression turned gloomy. He ordered while grinding his teeth, get out. Yan Mingmei's eyes widened, repeat that. I said, get out. Yan Mingmei's anger is almost to the extreme, but then turned to grievance. Her eyes immediately turned red. With her voice trembling, she pointed to Ming, you. Why are you so irrational? Because of him, you. Yan Mingmei glanced at Joe. Is it because of him that you're treating your sister this way? Yan Mingmei looked at Joe hatefully. You are a man, but you cling on to others like a woman. Don't you feel shameful? These words are like needles stabbing into Joe's heart, but he still smiled politely and responded, Miss Yan, in fact, you don't have to be so angry. This is just a deal between two willing parties. Any contract has a time limit, sooner or later it will come to an end. Why let it affect your family's harmony? Yunming Mei didn't expect Zhou to be so calm. She is stunned for a moment. Zhou took advantage of her in a dazed state and quickly walked past her and got out of the room. Ming's expression is extremely unsightly. He also followed Zhou and walked to the door. When he got to the door, he suddenly turned back. Sis, don't you want to know why Tom came to look for me? I'll tell you. He came to borrow money from me. You guys deal with it. After he said that, he went out to chase after Zhou. Ming stopped Zhou in the hallway and dragged him into an office. There are two people discussing work in that office. Upon seeing them coming in, they were stunned. Ming softly ordered, "Go out first." The two people glanced at each other and immediately went out, leaving only the two of them in the office. Zhou took a deep breath. I can guess what you want to say. Forget it. President Ming, I've already expected what the situation would be in running into your family. It's no big deal. The more Zhou showed his indifference, the more guilty Ming felt. He said coarsely, Zhou, I am sorry. I didn't expect him to bring my sister. My sister is unreasonable. Don't be angry. Zhou smiled. Don't worry about it. I was just speaking at the spur of the moment yesterday. It's not serious. Go do your work. I'm going back to see my mom. Zhou. Ming stopped him and looked straight into his eyes. Zhou, what my sister said, yes, I'll be facing the pressure from my family in the future, but I will handle it. I won't let you be burdened by it. Please believe me. Zhou frowned. No, Ming. Where do you get this confidence from? You are probably still too young. Not to mention your kind of family, but even children of ordinary families won't easily allow them to be with a man. What makes you think that you can continue on being with me? Based on what? Zhou took a deep breath. Why do you feel that your family will allow you to act rashly? Ming, grow up. Zhou is so enraged that he was not able to continue. He told himself that he must be calm. He had already felt very ashamed. If he doesn't maintain this calming attitude, he'll end up being a joke. He should have known long ago that in front of Tong, he would always be the one inviting humiliation on himself. Tong never really competed with him, but Zhou always ended up being shamed every time. What's more disgraceful was that he actually hoped for Ming to help him vie for some pride. When did he become such a coward? Now that he's thinking of these dark thoughts, his face burned up. End of the chapter. If you like these kind of videos, please subscribe and press the bell icon.